And tonight, a Shreveport man is on life support in the hospital after drowning in a lake. The victim's family says that he was hanging out with friends when he was allegedly pushed into the lake by one of his friends and he drowned. KSLA's Jasmine Franklin sat down with the victim's family as they search for answers.
So it's taking a toll on all of us. Like, Chris is a beam of light for all of us. So it's just been devastating.
Shreveport native 26-year-old Christopher Gilbert is in the hospital on life support.
He's still in a very critical condition. He's still the sickest patient in their unit.
The Louisiana Tech University graduate was hanging out with co-workers at a lakefront restaurant in Farmerville when things took a turn for the worse.
It's just been a nightmare not knowing day to day what to expect, from his condition.
Back on April 14th, a never-ending nightmare began for the Gilbert family. While Chris was spending time with co-workers, he was allegedly pushed into the lake by someone he knew.
We want the person who has admitted to pushing Chris into the lake, we want her arrested.
The family's attorney says the group of Chris's friends initially reported to police he had fallen into the lake. During investigation, one of his friends admitted to pushing him into the water.
I was devastated. I was hopeless.
Christopher's family says he doesn't know how to swim, and during the incident, he was underwater for more than 10 minutes, leaving him with significant brain damage.
We've been asked by Mr. Gilbert and his family to come and investigate what exactly happened.
The family's attorneys held a news conference in Ruston Tuesday afternoon, demanding justice and answers.
We have not received the full participation of law enforcement and other investigators, but we will use every resource at our disposal.
More than 2 weeks have passed since the near-death experience, but tonight the aspiring doctor is still in critical condition.
Justice is accountability for who did this to my child, who's ever responsible for my child, and I mean everybody that's responsible. I want accountability.
In Shreveport, Jasmine Franklin, KSLA News 12.
What's up, YouTube? This is James coming back at you with another informative video. I hope you guys are doing well out there on this beautiful Thursday. I'm doing well myself. As you can see, we have a situation right here that just does not add up. I mean, what kind of a friend or friends would push a person into water when they know they can't swim? Okay? And to add insult to injury, Chris Gilbert here, I can tell you this. His experience must have had something to do with his thought process. He might need some mental, health training, because he's making excuses for the person who did this. And I'm sure a lot of you may be wondering who this woman is standing next to him. Her name is Cassidy Holland, and she is the one that is alleged to have pushed Chris Gilbert into that water. You understand? I think this is one of those situations to where you will have some black man or black woman, young black man and black woman or whatever, go off with a group of so-called white friends, and that black person wasn't supposed to return home alive. I think that's what it is, under the pretenses of an accident. Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know, oh, what have you. You understand? But see, I don't know what is more shocking, the situation that happened to Chris and him almost leaving this dispensation in time on this earth due to the hands of so-called horseplay by a friend, or him who has since been, revived, and he's back with his faculties now within his what have you. He's alive now. He's doing well. Coming back on here making excuses for the person who did it. Check this video out.
First off, I do want to thank everybody for their support and all the prayers and everybody getting back to me. And as far as anything racially motivated, that's completely false. I don't really treat those arrested anything wrong. And I really don't think anyone did anything intentionally. I knew it was gonna happen, and kind of thought maybe like the water wouldn't be as deep. I would kind of hit the ground, get my footing up, and come back up and grab the pier and just kind of stand up there. So, and then the water ended up being deeper than we thought, ended up being a lot colder than we thought. Relief, I felt like I was very like emotional because it's been 3 weeks since I've seen any of them. And we're a pretty tight knit group.
Now you see what I mean. Now, as this article says here, aspiring doctor brain dead after friends pushed him into lake knowing he can't swim. This is what the report says. And he will get back on here as the Most High gave him another reprieve on life, and come back to consciousness and make excuses. This ain't how you play with somebody. Okay? This is just not how you play with somebody. Now, to get into this article here, it says an aspiring medical student was left brain dead last month when his friends pushed him into a Louisiana lake knowing he couldn't swim, and then looked on while doing nothing to save the drowning man, according to a report. Shocking video shows the group casually peering into the water moments after they shoved Christopher Gilbert off the deck at Lake Dearborn in Farmville on April 14th. At least one woman can be seen slowly entering the water before abandoning the rescue mission. It was another 10 minutes before a patron at a nearby restaurant intervened and yanked Gilbert back to land, just in the nick of time, okay? And he's making excuses like that, cuz, please, that was attempted murder. I don't care what nobody say. That was attempted murder. That ain't how you play with somebody, especially when you don't know how to swim. That person don't know how to swim. That's just what it is. Now here he is hooked up to all these tubes, you know what I mean? Christopher Gilbert was hospitalized after being submerged underwater when a group of people allegedly pushed him off a dock into a lake on April 14th. I mean, this dude was on a ventilator right here. You see what I mean? And the Most High seen fit to bring him back. See, goes on to say here though, the 26-year-old was brain dead and the rest of his organs were starting to fail by the time he arrived at a local hospital. His mother, Yolanda George, told KSLA. He spent 72 hours on a ventilator and an ECMO machine, which George described as dialysis for the lungs. I was devastated. I felt like my life had ended in that moment. My son is aspiring to be a medical doctor. My son is going to be a medical doctor. He got his master's last year in biological science. He's preparing for medical school. So for this to have happened to him, I was just devastated, George said. According to police, his so-called friends initially tried to pass off the near-death ass horseplay. Okay? And you hear that? Try to cover up the crime. And that's what it was. We was just joking. You don't play like that. Okay? And this is the picture right here where it shows, after the man was pushed off of this pier right here. And they just standing around looking. The chick who did it jumped in the water for a little bit and then got out. And that was that, This is all kinds of messed up. Dude, you better stop hanging around these folks. And that's basically what it all boils down to. And get you some sense and stop talking white. You understand? And start pronouncing your words where somebody can understand them. See, the problem is, as far as I'm concerned, this is just me venting about it. You got too many so-called black folks trying to be white. And then they want to hang around white folks. See, and a lot of times situations like this happen. And that's just keeping it right and tight and real. Now to continue here, they even told the lie to George in the moments after he was rescued. A friend of his called and she was hysterical, crying. She told me that Chris has fell into the lake and he had been underwater for 10 minutes or so, the mother said. Eventually, a white female around the same age as Gilbert admitted to pushing him into the lake. None of the friends, however, admitted to knowing he could swim. a claim Gilbert's family finds hard to believe. Okay, I believe they knew he could swim. You know, I really do. Look at all this right here. Look at this. This man almost left here. Okay, he almost left here. To continue though, to add insult to injury, after pushing him, no one from the friend group attempted to go in after him. Instead, two brave bystanders who have no relationship to Chris heard commotions and retrieved his body from the lake. Personal injury attorney Claudia Payne, representing George, wrote in a report obtained by the Lincoln Parish Journal. Fortunately, Gilbert has made strides since the ruthless attack. He is responding cognitively, but cannot speak, according to George. He still relies on life support, and his lungs are said to be at 20% capacity. Okay, this is a terrible image right here, man. Wow, you know, this is an image right here that shows a 26-year-old was brain dead, and the rest of his organs were starting to fail by the time he was arrived at the local hospital. You know, wow, 72 hours he was on this ventilator machine. You know, now the family is also demanding that an arrest be made in the tragic incident, with Payne saying the friends displayed criminal intent by pushing him into the lake. Why would you push my son in the lake knowing he couldn't swim? Asked George. I agree with this woman. I agree wholeheartedly with this woman, you know, and that's just what it is. This was malicious intent right here to take this man out, as far as I'm concerned, under the pretense of horseplay or so-called joke. You know, this ain't how you play. You know, I wouldn't want nobody doing me like that, even if I could swim or not. I wouldn't want nobody playing with me like that, and I wouldn't be pushing nobody else in the water if I know they could swim. This ain't just, I mean, anything can happen. They can just, you know, when you push them, they can slip, bump their head or whatever on something, and then there it is. You see what I'm saying? This ain't how you play with so-called friends. My advice be to you, Chris, like I said earlier on in this commentary, you better get yourself some new friends and stay away from these people right here. And this woman needs to be brung up on charges. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what nobody say. She needs to be brung up on charges. This ain't how you play, you know. Now, it said also in another article I saw that, you know, they had a GoFundMe for this young man for his medical bills because he has outlandish medical bills. I'm not sure. I think I saw $300,000. You understand? Now, I would say this: Cassidy Holland and whoever else had put their hands on Christopher Gilbert and pushed him in that water that day, you should have at least be held to contribute to this man's medical bills right here. Restitution for your actions. Even if you're not arrested, you should at least be held accountable for that. That's all I got on this one, people. I want you guys to tell me what you think about this particular story right here. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on it in the comment section. Like, share, and subscribe, people. Please remember to live your life as though we are being watched, simply because we are. This is James, and I'm out. Peace.